The domain google.com is registered. Netflix is founded. The English Patient wins Best Picture, and I was only 27 years old. Oh, and there were some great movies too. It's the films of 1997 tonight on Reel to Reel Talk. Film is a medium that transports. All I have to do is pop myself in front of the TV to watch a movie, and I can just enjoy it, whatever place the film takes me to.
Movies have always been an escape. It gives you a whole new world to be in.
I have a rekindled love affair with movies.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Reel to Reel Talk. I am Sergio Barrera, and it's time once again to talk movies. Joining me, as always, are the other Reel to Reel Talkers, Susan Chisholm and Paul Britton. Team, we are going back in time tonight.
Yeah, dog. Is it too early to say what's up?
Oh my gosh.
Am I right?
Is that from this era?
I don't know.
Good night, everybody. No.
Yeah.
I got to correct something you said, Sergio. English Patient was a 1996 movie.
Right, but the Oscars for it were in 1997, sir.
Okay,
and
I know,
so that's
but
when it was awarded. I was right. Thank you.
All right.
I knew you would say that. That's why I wrote the copy that way, because I knew you would bring that up.
Because you just wanted me to be an asshole right out of the gate. Out of the gate.
Yeah, here we are.
In 1997, I was 12.
What's up?
Wow.
I have no idea if that's the right time.
You can't let me have my moment, Susan.
How are you?
Weird. Thanks.
Hey, just saying.
Paul, where would you have been, since we're all sharing our ages, apparently?
I was graduating from undergrad, spending the summer working in just north of Little Havana. So like I was going to get amazing Cuban food like every other day for lunch.
Right.
And I was and then I was starting grad school.
Right. But from an age standpoint, 27 here, 12 over there. What yours have been?
23.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I would have turned 23 in 97.
In 97. So we're here to talk about the films of 1997. Which, as we talked last week about what we would focus on this show, we kind of harken back to the very beginnings of Reel to Reel Talk. Paul, you came on as one of my first guests, and we talked about the films of 1999. And as we looked at this year, we saw that there were quite a lot of films to talk about that made this a memorable year for film.
Yeah. I mean, this is a ridiculously stacked year, and that the full Monty was nominated for Best Picture, and there were like about 4 other movies I could list that weren't. Just tells you how stacked of a year it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Susan, I know that as you know, week to week, you take us on your journey of movies, and this year holds quite a few films actually that you've seen or have added recently. I would, if I remember correctly.
Sorry, the connection kind of broke out. I didn't catch part of what you said. What was that question?
You had quite a few, a large number of films that you've seen from 1997, whether it was then or in your recent journeys.
Yeah. So while we were looking at it, we were kind of like glancing through all the different years, and I think that in Letterboxd, that 97 was the year that I had the most movies viewed at 35 movies viewed in the year of 1997.
Okay.
And I think we were talking about all the different things it was about it, and I think 12 was like my prime movie watching year. Yeah, woohoo. What's funny is I think I've watched more of the movies now for this podcast than I did when I was actually at 12.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I wonder, what the timeline is in when you've seen all of the films of 1997, because I know they're not all from just the show.
Yeah,
a lot of them are though. Like I'm actually trying to log into Letterboxd Letterboxd right now to find out because I was kind of now you've made me curious now that I'm
and it's a tough year too because it's the year Fifth Element came out. So as soon as you saw Fifth Element, you just stopped and just kept watching Fifth Element over and over.
I was like, is there anything else that we really talk about? No, I don't think so.
This was a year that could be classified as sort of, the year of epic films and also crazy action movies.
Yeah.
That was sort of what dominated. And some really interesting comedies. One of my absolute favorite comedies occurs in 1997. I'm just going to throw it out there because I don't know how y'all feel about it. But the movie Liar Liar is absolutely one of my favorite comedies. And Jim Carrey, that was one of his earlier vehicles in 1997. So interesting selection of movies across the board here.
One of my favorite comedies from this year also, but not Liar Liar.
Well,
Austin Powers, man.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh.
I remember going to see Austin Powers in the movie theater where I used to work with my brother, and my brother and I, the opening sequence where he's dancing down the music's playing and he's dancing down the street and everybody's dancing with him, and my brother and I are absolutely dying, and like the rest of the theater is just almost crickets, but we cannot contain our giddiness and laughing, and it's a top 5, not maybe top 5, but certainly a very high rank for movie viewing experiences for me. Just remembering that moment, it's great.
I gotta say that surprises me, given your sort of your overall lean on movies and such. I'm a little surprised by that.
But comedies, I like wacky, zany, random, like what the hell just happened type of stuff, and that's
well,
awesome.
That definitely qualifies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the list of the movies that I watched in 1997, and I'm like, actually, the majority of them were watched when I was younger, and I was like, Also, strangely, a significant number of Julia Roberts movies.
Yeah.
Okay, who knew? All right,
this is
then.
true.
Strange.
We had a requisite Bond movie in 2007. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Not a good one, but sure.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
But one happened.
We won't talk about the Bond movie that never happened.
Which one's the one that never happened?
That hasn't happened yet.
Oh, God.
They won't give me my Bond movie.
Oh, yeah. No, what? October, November? It's coming.
It's
Just
coming.
chill.
It's coming.
Chill. It's coming. No,
So-
we're not falling for that.
Right.
No.
So as we begin this process of discussing these films, I just kind of want to say, okay, you guys, whatever you would say are sort of your top 3.
Oh, bye.
And it's kind of difficult, but or let's just at least throw 3 out there.
Okay.
That we can all discuss. We'll do a round robin, and it may be hard to choose. Doesn't have to even be your top 3. We'll just say, 3 that stood out to you, and let's talk a little bit about, a few moments each, why we would want to encourage folks that are watching to watch the movies of 1997. So,
I reserve the right to go last.
We can't talk about Fifth Element either because we talked about it twice.
Yeah, we've
3
already
times
talked
on the
about
movie.
that. Like
3 times.
pretty much every other podcast, Fifth Element gets mentioned. So we can.
Yeah, Fifth Element is a given. If you haven't seen Fifth Element, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
Those of you out there. Okay. So then I'll start. Susan will go second, and Paul will go third.
Great.
And then we'll just rotate through. So I want to start with the movie, and again, this is no order. For me, it's in no order. I was a big fan of Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco is one of my absolute favorite mob films. Johnny Depp, Al Pacino, pretty much the entire cast of, what is the name of that show on HBO?
The
Why
Sopranos?
can't I think of it now? Thank you. The Sopranos.
Spoiler alert, there's lots of talking.
Yes, there is, and it's wonderful. I love mob films, and I remember watching Donnie Brasco in the theater when it came out and just absolutely loving the film. And of course, afterwards, figuring out how much of it was, it's based on a true story. It's of course very, there are some liberties taken. But overall, just a really good film, and one that I like to revisit that I had forgotten was part of this year. So that's my first. Hey, these are movies I like of '97. So Susan, what about you? Where are you taking us?
I'm gonna go animated because I really liked it a lot. Anastasia was in 1997. It's a good animated film. If you've not seen it, it's Disney musical animated. I mean, it's really
I was gonna. Is it Disney?
Not
Is
Disney.
it's not Disney?
It is not.
I don't know. Anyway, animated. It's not at all the accurate telling of the story of Anastasia and the Romanov family, but it's cute and kids like it, and I thought it was great.
Speaking
and
of
I
taking
was
liberty,
fucking 12. Don't start.
Okay, Hercules was better.
Hey, listen. Listen.
What?
You've got 3 movies that you can talk about.
I'm not going to talk about Hercules. I'm going to talk about Boogie Nights because it was by far the best movie of the year. I don't even know that it's even very close. Boogie Nights was not the first movie from Paul Thomas Anderson, but the first one that really made waves that people, actually saw. That it definitely introduced him to the scene of, hey, look, I'm going to be an awesome, amazing film director and writer, and you're just going to have to deal with it for a long time. And he's still making amazing movies and has another one coming out this year that I'm just super stoked for. So, Boogie Nights is my first one.
It's a good film. Very good film. All right. So another film I would throw in the mix from this year. And after we share our 3 each, there's a couple of other items that we'll talk about in relation to the films of this year. But I would actually say that I would encourage people to go and watch a movie. You guys know I like historical epics. And this one's very, very talky as well. And it's a movie called Amistad. Morgan Freeman, Matthew McConaughey is in this film.
Shocking.
Yeah, exactly. It's our introduction to Jimon Hansu in a very dramatic role, and so if you go, again, if you're someone who likes historical films, and I would consider this a historical epic. It's a look at a moment in time in which a slave ship was. The ownership was in question, and the fate of the slaves on board is sort of the crux of the story. What's to happen to them now that they've made it to American soil? And it's a very interesting look at a historical event that it still resonates in today's age in terms of what has happened in our country since then. So Amistad is one of the ones that I think is sort of underrated for this year. Not considered to be one of the films that comes to mind when you think of 1997, but one that I think is a fantastic film and very enjoyable. So Amistad is my second choice. Susan, we'll go to you again.
So one that I remember seeing when I was younger, because my dad used to fall asleep watch movies all the time. I actually remember seeing Conspiracy Theory when I was young.
Oh.
And I actually kind of liked it. It was like, hey, Mel Gibson really is crazy. And he did he definitely did a great job of portraying that.
I never looked at coffee the same after that movie.
Or like the scene where he bites Patrick Stewart's nose. I'm like,
I want to say that's the first time I've seen Patrick Stewart as a villain.
Yeah,
and I don't know that I have since.
That's probably the only movie that I can remember seeing Patrick Stewart as a villain, and I think it was kind of like it. That was probably the most uncomfortable part of it. It was like, no, Captain, no.
What are you doing, Jean-Luc?
No. put your suit back on and go back to the spaceship. Just kidding. No, but yeah, it's one of those when I kind of like, that's weird, but also kind of neat. Anyway, that's
a good one. That's a good one. Paul, what would you say?
I'm going with LA Confidential as my next one. Just like just amazing. An amazing crime drama. Neo noir is, I guess, the technical genre. Neo noir, and it's so good. Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, a young what's his name, the Australian guy that beats up people. I know that's
Russell
not narrowing it down. What's that? Russell Crowe. Thank you. Yeah. And
That's your take on Russell Crowe?
yeah,
That's awesome.
he's the Australian guy that beats
was
up
that
people.
wrong?
No, you're right. That's right.
Was I
It was
wrong?
Russell Crowe.
Was I
No, you were
wrong?
right.
I'm questioning that
Thank you.
amidst all of the stuff we know about Russell Crowe, that's how you chose to describe him, Paul. That was
I'm
funny.
sorry. I could have said Gladiator, but it
Right,
would have been
yeah.
too easy.
Well, I also wouldn't have- I'd
Amazing
been like,
cast.
huh?
Benny DeVito. The cast is stupid good, and
Yeah.
the movie is stupider good. Yeah, I just for Pete's sake, go watch LA Confidential if you haven't seen
Sure.
it. Like that's all I'm gonna say. It's number 2 for the year for me, and again, not. It's a little closer than my number 1, but it's like pretty far ahead of the kind of grouping that I have at number 3 that I'm waiting to see what Sergio picks.
Gotcha. Well, so as we begin the third rotation, movies we would bring up from this year, I would have to say it's so difficult because there's so many that I would say I would want to bring up. But I love the movie As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson. He wins an Oscar this year for that role, or next year, for the role that he plays in this particular film. Greg Kinnear in it as well. It's just it's one of those movies that when I watched it in the theater, I went in not knowing what to expect, not really even thrilled to be there, but then came out of the film very surprised at how much I had enjoyed it. And on occasion, I'll revisit it. It's a bit of a hard watch, given Jack Nicholson's character, but yeah, it's one of those movies that, again, as I looked over the list and I thought, what are the movies that stand out from this year, or contrasted with the ones that don't get as much attention, or people would say, oh yeah, that was that year as well. As Good as It Gets would be one I'd want to mention.
That movie is why I can never feel good about how I'm spelling conscience.
Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, Susan, what else would you like to share?
So I guess the last one, and this is probably one that I really liked it a lot, was Contact. And with Jodie Foster, everybody. Okay, so I made faces. I didn't see the faces because I heard. Okay, I heard was a noise, and I was like,
"Yay!"
I'm gonna get back that way. I really liked it a lot. There was a period of my life, like I was younger than 12. I was probably 7 or 8 when some space fact thing somewhere along the way scared me to death about space. It was to the point where I was literally hiding under my mom's bed because I was scared of black holes, because I'm panicking, having panic attacks at school. When we would go to, they would break us out into like the gifted and talented, or like the ELP students. They would we would have break us out into different classes, and I actually requested to be withdrawn from ELP because we were talking about space stuff, and it scared me so badly that I requested to be withdrawn from it. And they convinced me to go back into it, and we started talking about it and stuff like that. And then somebody finally convinced me to watch Contact, and it was like, oh, you know what, maybe it's not that bad. And I mean, there are still days, there are still times. I mean, I am a grown ass adult and I still have times when I'm like, we need to talk about something else. Please. Let's talk about something else. Not space stuff, please. Because it's just like an irrational phobia or something that, I mean, it happened 4 nights ago. We were sitting all at the kitchen table talking about something. I was like, we need to change the subject. Because my oldest kid was talking about something, and I was like, we need to change the subject. And Cullen actually, like, my husband likes to tease me about it because it's very clearly it's an irrational fear. But I'm like, I was like, if there was ever anything that almost convinced me that space was okay, It was Contact.
Thank you, Jodie Foster.
Yeah, I know. Ooh. And we were even talking about going out to. We were on our drive to. We drove to the coast this past weekend, and on the drive we were talking about like renewable resources, and we were talking about giant satellites and stuff like that. And we talked about going out to Very Large Array in New Mexico because we were talking about the giant satellites and everything like that. And I was like, we should go out to Very Large Array, and they talk about we're listening to the space. You know what? Let's not do that. everybody in the car burst out laughing at first. I was like, never mind, let's not do that. It's fine. We don't need to. It's fine. Okay. But,
so if Contact was close enough or was close to making you feel like space was okay, I have to wonder if you watched Event Horizon. So from the same year.
Event Horizon. She
No.
did not. Leave her alone. Don't be mean.
No. And let me tell you what happened, because there was actually when we were talking about this project, somebody mentioned Event Horizon, and I was like, I already know about that. No. Thank you.
So this movie is the Sergio trifecta. It's a space movie starring Matthew McConaughey where they talk incessantly. I mean, that's like his wheelhouse. I don't understand why that wasn't your number one, Sergio. I'm not even gonna lie.
Event Horizon.
Contact.
Paul's talking about Contact. So,
okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love Contact. I mean, it is one of those. Again, I'll watch it again. It's literally one of my purchases on Amazon.
You skipped it because you knew I would do it if you didn't do it, didn't you?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't. I just, I'm just throwing a dart at the board here. No,
all right.
Wow.
I don't know which way to go for this last one.
Know that you're going to get a free moment to share anything else that you.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to go with Princess Mononoke as my number 3.
All the ones that we assigned for this week.
Did we? Oh, I didn't know that we would go into them. I mean, look, you gave me. Okay, I'm not going to do Princess Mononoke. I'm going to do Grosse Point Blank. Nope, we're doing Grosse Point Blank. Grosse Point Blank, because Minnie Driver is in her absolute apex of me being madly in love with her, and she says the line, "You can't come in," just like that, and my wife and I say that to each other all the time.
Oh, that's right.
And it's hilarious. I love that movie. It's just that movie is directly in the Paul Britton wheelhouse. So
yeah,
bravo to Grosse Point Blank.
In fact, I remember, Susan, I think that was one of your. Was it one of your Susan Finally Saws?
It was
early on.
My SFSs.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Man, months ago.
Long time ago. Yeah,
but I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
1997
guys,
was unique in many ways. I mean, we got obviously Titanic was the big film of the year.
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting, Jackie Brown, Men in Black.
Yes, Men in Black.
The Lost World, Jurassic Park: The Lost World came out.
Mm-hmm.
Just a huge array.
Can I quickly go through just the list of you mentioned the amazing action adventure movies, like just really quick.
Okay, so I can check and see what you don't mention. Here we go. Okay,
Air Force One, Face Off, Con Air.
Okay, good.
Fifth Element. Alien Resurrection. You mentioned Men in Black. It's amazing. Like Gattaca.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
What's that?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
No. That one doesn't count. Gattaca.
Gattaca's great.
So good. Action-y and super talky. That's So
hey, I'll throw you a super talkie from 1997 that I absolutely love to this day.
Hit me.
Wag the Dog.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm not surprised by
Fantastic
that.
film.
Yeah.
Fantastic film. Susan, what other movies would you throw out for us to, that stand out to you in this year?
Oh man.
Besides Mouse Hunt. I'm just kidding.
You knew that. You knew you were gonna say that because I've seen it before. I don't even know. We've seen Spice World. We talked about Spice World before. Right. Volcano. Well, it was a terrible movie.
Terrible.
I mean, great movie from 1997.
It's equally terrible. Dante's Peak. Horrible and nearly unwatchable, but same year.
My best friend's wedding was in 1997.
So good.
George of the Jungle.
Mhm.
Brendan Fraser.
I would say that probably people have forgotten this was the year of Selena. The film.
People did forget.
Yeah.
I'm
Was
surprised
it?
you're not mentioning the game, Sergio. Come on. What,
Well, I only did it because we just talked about it just a few weeks
Okay.
ago.
Sure.
It came up.
Sure,
But
sure.
I will mention the Jackal. Another one of my,
The Angel too. I'm sure you love that
I
one. They're
tried.
both horrible, and it's the same reason that they're horrible.
Wait, which one?
The Angel, isn't that 1997?
I don't recall.
And I might be thinking of something
Remind me.
else.
I have a story about the Jackal. Remind me off air to tell you guys later. It's hilarious.
Why do we have to wait?
Just
gonna
because.
say.
Okay.
No.
Already.
Yep. Anyway.
But yeah, lots of films this year, and again, a handful that are underrated. I think of The Spanish Prisoner, which was not only written by David Mamet as a play, but also he wrote and directed this particular film.
Yeah.
Love
I'm on that
it.
one. Yeah,
Steve Martin.
Yep.
And so again, a very interesting year for film is 1997, and I kept finding myself, going, "Oh yeah, add that to my watch list. Oh yeah, add that to my watch list."
Have you seen Suicide King, Sergio?
Absolutely. Don't talk about it. It's coming up.
Oh, okay. All right.
I have a segment later, son.
Okay. All right. Hey.
All right. So we each were supposed to watch a movie. Did we get to those movies, folks? Because
I
each of us had an
talked about
assignment.
Susan's, but because I didn't know what we were doing with this movies that we were
Yeah.
supposed to watch. So Susan, give us your thoughts on LA Confidential, because I've already given my thoughts on it.
It was very talky.
Is it?
It was very talky.
Oh my goodness! Really?
There was a good portion of it where I found myself going, "What? Why though?" And then it's when it started to come together, and but half of it was, "Yeah, but why though?" And the other half of it was, "Oh, okay, but I already knew that's the bad guy." You know what I mean? Like I had already pegged the guy, the James Cromwell, the captain, as the bad guy. I was like, I saw him and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know that was too hard to figure out for the beginning.
Yeah, and
It's
just like maybe the way he interacted with people and like the way that he spoke to people, it was just kind of like, yeah, he's gonna be bad. And then the way that things were playing out, it's like you see the one guy. I'm really bad with names. You'll have to forgive me, but in the very beginning, when he's like shopping at the liquor store and he like beats the crap out of the other cop just for no reason, like the retired cop, and it's like, okay, he's gonna die, and you're like later on, you're like, oh, he did, very, very, yeah, okay, and it's like you're going through all these things, and you're like, as a little like things are unraveling slowly, it's just like a little too slowly for me, I guess. It just was kind of like there was a lot of talking. There was a lot of just like.
I'm surprised by that. I'll be honest.
I'll be honest.
This movie never struck me as super hockey.
But
You didn't? Okay, well maybe it's just me, because I guess you guys played it off as this like cop action suspense. I'm like expecting like car chases and like super. I mean, there were a lot of like gunfights and stuff like that. So that was something else. That was okay, cool. And like there was definitely a lot of like, for me, I guess, discomfort in the like framing and like race issues, that I was just like, oh, I know that this is meant to be like that. I know that they're doing that on purpose. So it was just kind of like, yeah. I mean, all in all, it's definitely the cast is amazing. I don't think they could have picked a better group of people to play. And I think that the story itself was kind of like, you could have floated a little bit more in there, but I mean, or like maybe
I feel like I need to watch it.
maybe it's just me,
I don't know
because
that
it's
we
just like,
talk about the same movie.
because it's like for me, like I picked out immediately, like, okay, yeah, James Cromwell's a bad guy. I could pick out like plot points. Okay, he's gonna die. This is what's going on here, and like this is why. And like you could see as things were happening, like, okay, this is the loose ends being tied up. And like, and I foresaw like Kevin Spacey's character, like I was like, oh, he's gonna die like right now. Like he closed the door to the office. I was like, oh, he's dead. He's so dead. And it was just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and like I've gotten too used to it, or maybe just this kind of particular kind of movie. But it was just like it wasn't. Not maybe pardon me, those are words. Not my cup of tea, perhaps.
Okay.
But it was a good movie, just not something that I would choose.
You recognize the quality, just not for you.
Exactly. So, and I mean, and again, like I said, the cast was phenomenal. And like you said before, like all the people that were there, like there are certain little things that play off of my nerves, like the little thing that every so often the narrator, that Danny DeVito would be like, I'm gonna talk about cool stuff in my funny little accent, hush hush, and I was like,
I love that. Oh my, forget it. Sergio, what movie? No, we're moving on. We're moving on. If you're gonna knock the Danny DeVito voiceover, we're moving on.
It's my movie. It's my freaking opinion. Give me a goddamn break. My opinion. All right, whatever. I guess I'm done. Fine.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
done. It's fine. Anyway, that's it. So that's it. The cast was fantastic. I think that the story was good. It's just not my. I mean, are we doing ratings? Is that what we're doing, or?
Sure, let's do it.
Sure, yeah.
Throw it on there.
I mean,
well, before we do that, for those who are watching, I always like to make sure we describe it ahead of time. Here on Real to Real Talk, you can give a movie as many as 5 tacos. If you want to throw a little extra, you can put guac. So for your film, LA Confidential, Susan, what would you say is your taco rating?
I'm going to say 4 tacos. Solid 4 tacos. I think if it had been something that it would have been like my type of movie, like something that I would be like, oh, I'm going to go back to again and again, it probably would have been 4.5 tacos or 4 tacos with guac, maybe. I don't know. What did you say 4 though?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Your selection was
Starship Troopers, because I couldn't find Kundun anywhere.
That surprises me, but it kind of doesn't.
I couldn't find it anywhere, so I was even willing to pay for it. But here we are. I get to just tell you that some movies are bad intentionally. Some movies are bad on purpose. This one was both.
Oh yeah.
Like I could tell what they were doing. I know what they were doing. It was a complete total tongue in cheek. Like, this is so bad. It's going to be funny. But I didn't think it was all that funny. Like, I just thought it was bad. I mean, I guess I get what they're trying to do, but I just didn't like, it's just not like it wasn't, I don't like, you gotta commit. And I just didn't feel like they ever committed to how stupid it was. Like they were just like, oh, this is stupid, but let's really not do anything with it. Like, and then, so they didn't do anything with it. And it was 1 taco. So
that's pretty much what the critics gave it. When it came out, it was very gratuitous in so many ways. So for me, I had Princess Mononoke, and I'm still trying to get my feet wet in anime and find a style of anime that I enjoy. The story was very cool, beautifully rendered. It was just, for me, it just felt laborious. Like I can't say it was a bad film. But again, as someone who doesn't have experience in watching anime, probably in a way that I need to enjoy it, I feel like I'm missing something in understanding the world of anime for me to get like sort of the full effect of a film of this type, especially because of how popular it is. It was just hard for me to sort of follow in some regards and keep up with who was who. And I tried to. I actually had to purchase it on Amazon to have so I could watch it, and I don't like English dubbing. If I can get the Japanese subtitle version, which is what I chose to do. That's usually my preference. But again, it's another addition to that pyramid of anime that I'm trying to build over time. And again, I'm not going to judge the film again from how beautifully it's rendered, from the complexity of the storytelling and the way in which the story is told. I can't go. I feel bad going beneath 4 tacos because it is such a popular film and it is so well spoken of. But if I'm going purely by my own enjoyment for the rating, I'm going to stick at 4 tacos, but no guac.
Okay.
And allow myself to admit that it's probably my inexperience that kept me from enjoying it fully as a film. It was long too. It was very long for an anime, or maybe I just don't know enough anime.
Do you not have HBO Max?
I may have just quickly looked and bought it without thinking, but I have HBO Max, so
okay.
But I own it, and it's probably best that I do because I can go back to it and be like,
"There you
try
go."
This again.
Yeah.
So that was mine. Did we go through all 3?
Yeah, we did all 3.
I think we did. Yeah, we did. So as we wrap up this discussion on the films of 1997, I just want to throw a few more titles out, just as a final sprinkling of movies that need to be seen from this film, starting with Steel with Shaquille O'Neal, along with, let's see, Kevin Costner in The Postman, must be mentioned on this show.
Oh my God, that movie sucks so bad.
That's me trolling you.
Like,
that's me purely trolling you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it's so bad.
But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah,
I get a dig.
It's so bad.
It was a huge dud. Right up there with The Saint. There was a huge dud for that.
The
year.
Saint. That's what I was trying to think of.
I freaking love The Saint so much.
Really?
Yeah, well, okay, but I was also, I think, 12 and obsessed with Val Kilmer at the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I said The Angel earlier. I meant The Saint. Sorry.
Oh, got it. Okay,
Sorry.
that's why I was lost.
And you didn't like The Saint?
It wasn't one I ever returned to.
Okay. All right.
I've probably seen it like 17,000 times. Like
Wow.
I've probably seen it about the same amount of times that I've seen The Fifth Element.
I was sad that I paid money. Is how I put it. Literally leaving the movie theater.
I can relate. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of films. We encourage you to go and find the lists abound of the films of such and such a year. 1997 was very interesting, and I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. And in a few weeks, perhaps we'll pick another year and run through the gamut of films from other years. So
you never know.
You never know, indeed. But what you do know is that you can find us here on YouTube. We thank you for joining us. Don't forget, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. And also click the notification bell so you know when our episodes land. In fact, now that every Tuesday we'll be on live here at Real to Real Talk. In addition, don't forget you can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at Real to Real Talk, the page. And there you can see not only past broadcasts, but also posters of past shows so that you know what we've talked about. And you can actually join us or revisit some of the episodes that we have had over the last several months, probably longer, as this is episode 72 of the show. Don't forget, you can also see posters of all of our shows at our Instagram page. So please join us there at Real to Real Talk on Instagram. And that way you can scroll and figure out what episode you want to go back to and watch, and so forth and so on. We move now to this week's segment, and we always start with something we like to call What the Hell Did I Just Watch? Paul, take it away.
So the fun thing about What the Hell Did I Just Watch is that I get to continually try to lower the bar. That's nice. Really one of the goals, to see just how low I can make that bar. And we did it this week. So, and Sergio, you always like to know where I found the movie. So this particular movie, this week I watched The Baby. It's called The Baby. I think it's from 1973.
I'm already creeped out.
Yeah. And I found this one when I first discovered Tubi. I don't remember which of my What the Hell Did I Just Watch movies I went to Tubi for, but while I was there, I was like, oh, this is an interesting service. It's free and it has horrible movies on it. This is definitely, I should just kind of do random searches and see what I come up with. And And like the baby was one of the things that came up as a suggestion for me based on like something else that I had looked for, and so it's been on my list for a while. I finally got to it, or I guess finally. It's horrible. It's the story of a mom and her two grown daughters that wear very little clothing, who are raising their 21-year-old son, the 21-year-old son, their brother, and have trained him to not walk or talk, like to keep him in a perpetual baby state through negative reinforcement.
Wow.
And a social worker takes on the case and is determined to prove out that they are doing this negative reinforcement. And at first I thought the movie was just like horrible, like softcore, like fetish movie, because it feels like horrible softcore fetish movie. But then I just realized, then I found out like there's a twist at the end, and I'm going to tell you what the twist is because don't watch this movie. But throughout the movie, the social worker keeps referencing the fact that her husband had an accident. And so what you end up finding out is that at the end of the movie, the social worker kidnaps the baby. And by the way, it doesn't have a name. It's just baby, or the baby. They constantly referred to as baby. Okay. She kidnaps the baby, and because the accident that her husband had was a head injury that turned him, back to an infantile state himself, and so she took on the case to bring him home a playmate.
Wow,
it's horrible. I'm telling you. Yeah,
I don't even have words.
This is bad. Oh, I remember. I was looking for. I think no. Anyway, yes,
bad.
This
don't
might
bother. Be the basement of what the hell did I just watch?
I told you. I'm constantly trying to lower the bar, and I have done it again this week. Like it's. Wow. The good news is that next week I'm going to look for something fantastic and weird.
Well, so, if I may I help?
Sure.
Look up the service Vudu, VUDU. And see what titles I discovered there just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I've seen Vudu. I've been scared to wade into it. I'll be honest. Like I don't know that I don't. I know. I don't know that I need another free service with shitty movies to feed this segment. I have a list. So, but yeah, if I'm feeling desperate or weird, maybe I'll jump into the Vudu.
Looking at the list of movies on Vudu, I was so tempted to change my segment to be something like that would just pull movies from that particular, but I thought, no, that's too close to Paul's. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So
seriously though, if you are interested in watching weird shit, just go to Tubi or Vudu and just randomly pick some like movie from the 70s and you'll be like, what?
You'll be rewarded.
Why did people make this? How did money get put into this?
Right.
Anyway.
That's my question.
Yeah. So someone made the baby. The mom was like an accomplished actress from like the 40s and 50s, and
oh wow,
they brought her in, and she was horrible. Right. The whole movie sucks. Don't do
Yet
it.
Another film to stay away from. Thanks to Paul. And what the hell
welcome.
did I just watch?
You're welcome. So, nobody needed to know about this movie.
Thank you, Paul, for saving us week after week. So if you want to know what movies not to get into, make sure you check us out every week so you can find out what Paul's going to bring to us on what the hell did I just watch. So thank you, Paul.
I'm going to bring a good one next week. I promise. I'm every once in a while I bring a good one, and I'm going to do it again next week. I that's my promise to the audience. Promise.
Excellent. Already looking forward to it.
Me too.
All right. That brings us then to this week's installment of Susan Finally Saw. Susan, your journey has continued, and I'm excited to find out what comes next.
Well, I sometimes surprise you guys with my what do you call them? Entries? Well, so as I mentioned before, kind of briefly, I was at the coast with my parents, and so you know how my list is like, somebody suggested I watch this movie, and that's how it got on my list. And well, by suggested, I mean my dad turned it on and took the remote away, so I got to watch John Wick 3, the Chapter 3 Parabellum. It was actually really good, and there were points that was really funny, and I was always like, hey, is that the guy from Iron Chef? It wasn't the guy from Iron Chef, just spoiler alert. He was the funny part, to be honest. Like, so, there were parts where I was like, the fights were ridiculous at points. Yeah. You get what surprise? I know. Also, I was like, I really missed something huge here in the middle of something, and because at the beginning, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? But yeah,
So
I think I got it.
John Wick 2.
I was going to
I
say,
had seen most. Yeah, I've saw John Wick 1 was like my one of my big ones.
Oh,
remember?
that's right. That's
She
right.
did that one.
You're right.
2, I had seen like majority of it. We'll just say that.
But the ending is like really important for the start of John Wick 3. Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's just say I missed that.
Okay.
And so at the point there, I got into it, but I watched the entirety of 3, and so I kind of caught on what was going on. I guess and figured it out. Yeah, there was just like, oh, this is interesting. There's some weird the part where okay. Anyway, if you haven't seen that movie, you should probably watch it. There's a really
it's been out for so long, you can spoil it. It's not a problem.
But like the part where he's fighting with the I guess his name is Zero. I think the character's name is Zero. The guy that I keep I jokingly say he's the Iron Chef.
Oh right. Yeah.
And he's like the bald guy, and they're like in the hotel, and he's like sitting on the couch, and the concierge like goes away to get the manager, and he's like, okay, so you're John Wick. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
it's really funny.
Like I just,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah.
I need to research to find out if someone has ever done a headshot count on the 3 John Wick movies, because there's a whole lot of headshots.
It actually has been done. Because I looked it up because I was,
Nice.
and it's broken down in the person. I can't find it because I did it after the first one, because I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh my god, there's more than 2 movies. Okay,
There's a 4th coming out. It's ready to go. It's in the can. It should have been. It should have come out in December. So here we are.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about movies that should have come out in December. We're not going to talk about James Bond movies.
James Bond was supposed to come out in March, so of last year. So that's way later.
March of last year, and then November, and then it was Christmas, and then it was supposed to be the beginning of this year. Get started on. Anyway, that's the movie I saw.
Yay! Good one.
Yeah.
Good movie. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. All right, Susan, thank you so much. You can find out what Susan has watched week to week as she continues to try to catch up with me and Paul week to week. So we thank you, Susan, very much. All right, this week on Real Time Rewind, I went back to 1997. And just want to remind people that there is, I used today's topic to motivate my choice. I talked more than a couple of times during our topic earlier about underrated films of 1997, and Suicide Kings is one of those that people forget about. The cast is fantastic. I mean, it's Christopher Walken. That's all you need. Yeah, everybody else. This was sort of I don't want to say the heyday of independent film, but this was one of those movies that was, truly made on a small budget with some recognizable faces, some not recognizable faces. But if you've not seen Suicide Kings, and if it's not on your list, Susan, I would certainly recommend that you add it. It's a compelling story. It is one that is a little talky, but again, there's so many elements of it. Dennis Leary plays sort of a unexpected role. I don't want to talk too much about it because again, I want to use this segment to remind people that the movie is out there and to check it out. And if you have watched it, rewatch it because I'm going to this week.
It only made $1 million at the box office, so I don't think most people even know it exists. So in fact, what I'll do is I'll add the actual movie poster onto our page because it is one of those films that is forgotten about, and it is from the moment it begins, the twists and turns that it takes you on is you're on the edge of your seat, and before you know it, it's done, and it's a wonderful film. So Suicide Kings is this week's Real Time Rewind. Go ahead, Paul. Super quick. I remember I was living in New York and I bought my first DVD player, and Suicide Kings was the first movie I bought for my DVD player. Yeah. That's awesome. I just bought the DVD player, and I was walking home, and I passed by like a Sam Goody or something, whatever, and walked in, and Suicide Kings was right there. I'm like, yep. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ashamed to admit that my very first DVD was a wrestling DVD. So
You should be ashamed.
that's funny.
Wow.
All right. Well, we have one more thing to talk about, and that's this week's real quick. No, I'm sorry. It's real quick reviews.
Yep.
And very interesting selection for this week, as we're going to do a real quick review on Army of the Dead, Netflix released, starring Dave Bautista and a host of other folks that I don't recognize. So, can I start by saying that this movie was too long? Good
Interesting. Yes, you can.
Jeez. Oh, man. Guys, I love me some zombie movies. Y'all know that.
Yes, I do too. I'm on record for sure.
Yeah, and I struggled with this film.
Yeah.
I struggled with this film. Guys, are there rules for zombie movies that you feel maybe this film broke? That's where I want it.
Interesting. I would say that there are more rules for heist movies that this movie broke than there are rules for zombie movies that this movie broke.
Like making the heist pointless?
Yeah, that's a big fucking problem with a heist movie. If you're going into by the way, I fucking love heist movies. I love zombie movies. Something's got to give. Yeah. Because you can't have a zombie movie that ends happy, and you can't have a heist movie that ends sad. Like you just, those are two things diametrically opposed to each other. Right. Why do it this way? Why? And here we are. I loved the opening title sequence. The opening title sequence to this movie was possibly the best opening title sequence ever. Like I would need somebody to be like, come up with a list of the top 10, and then I'd watch them and be like, okay, you know what? No, I'm going with Army of the Dead. You mentioned earlier you would like a count of the headshots in the John Wick movies. Yeah. Whatever that number is, multiply it by 20, and Batista alone exceeds that number in this.
Oh man!
What I'm interested though. What rules of zombie movie do you think this movie?
How do I do this without giving too much away? There's a level of intelligence that I'm not willing to forgive.
Okay, cool. So
when it comes to how zombies are portrayed in any zombie film / zombie genre film.
Sure. And this movie definitely vastly exceeds that for sure.
I wanted to give it credit for creativity.
Yes,
I did. But I'm such an old school from Night of the Living Dead forward. I'm a Romero fan to the hilt. Like I had trouble.
Are you mad at 27 Days Later for introducing us to fast zombies?
No, because that film was clear that it was based on it was rage versus flesh eating.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's why, because I did examine
zombies
that.
You're down with. You're ready to accept fast zombies. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Cool.
The only other thing I'll talk about in terms of broken rules was this notion of now that'll be too much to give it away. I'll tell you guys off air. Right. But so what I'll substitute in that place of what I was going to say was this sort of caste system approach of the zombies. Mm-hmm. I was not a fan. So again, I mean, the movie had a far bigger issue for me. I had a lot of problems with the length of the film, the storytelling. You get invested in things that you're then like, okay, all right, and I never thought I'd say this because listen, I have followed Dave Bautista since he was a pro wrestler, who has become a fairly talented and skilled actor, and for me to say, and I try to remind myself, it's a zombie movie, that I feel he was wasted in this movie. I just,
I thought he did
fun?
Sure.
I
liked him. I liked him in this.
He brought some gravitas, absolutely. Yeah. You can see shades of what he's capable of.
Yeah.
But I was like, golly, cut him loose.
Yeah.
Like I wanted more. And don't even get me started into the relational dynamics that didn't make sense in this movie between people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
struggled.
understand that too.
Yeah.
Susan, you mentioned that you saw like the first like 5-10 minutes, 20. I don't know how much did you see of the movie? How far did you get in?
It was not very much. It was
Okay.
spotty, if at best, and it was distractedly.
Okay.
So I don't think I qualify.
Okay. All right.
I don't think I qualify to have an opinion.
See, it's interesting, Sergio, because I was far more offended with the affront to heist movies than the affront to zombie movies.
I get that. I get that.
And I think part of that is that I don't have a problem with somebody establishing new rules for what they are doing with a zombie, especially since they don't give you the background of Alpha, the first zombie. So like, you don't know what this creature actually is. And they establish that like his second generation offspring are just brainless slow zombies, but his immediate offspring are slightly different. And so I accept that. I do accept that, but it's all right.
I got to tell you, I loved to go back to the heist connection of the film. I loved the concept because I don't know that we've seen a film where the zombies are contained. They're not yet spread. Right. So the notion of a heist taking place in this zone was really cool in my head. I was like, I'm going to love this.
Yes.
Going to love this.
Yes.
I didn't get, there were some like the coyote.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are people going back? Again, too many questions.
No. That's a huge mystery. There's definitely, there are like 3 too many characters in this movie and they really drag the movie down.
It was so slow too.
And,
oh my God.
And like, yes, you're right.
How long before we got the Zack Snyder slow motion?
Opening credits.
It was right away.
It was opening credits was the Zack Snyder slow motion. The entire opening credits, but see, that's the thing is, it worked then. The Zack Snyder, like the entire opening credits was Zack Snyder slow-mo, and it was amazing and awesome, and it worked.
He got the slow motion out, and he went, let's use this thing again.
And it's fun. Anywho's.
So
what's your rating? I know where I'm going.
Susan, are we going to bypass rating from you? I want to, out of respect, want to make sure I ask.
Did you see enough of the movie?
If you heard me.
I can't hear like you keep freezing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my connection's really horrible. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's cool. So Paul, again, against our 5 toggle rating here on Real to Real Talk, what is your rating for Army of the Dead?
Yeah, this is classic 2 plus guac. And it gets the 2 for the movie and it gets the guac for the opening credits sequence, which again, seriously, not being sarcastic, not being facetious, not being hyperbolic in any way, shape, or form. Amazing opening sequence. So there you go.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to land on 2 tacos plus guac as well. Plus guac because it attempted to put 2 of our favorite genres together.
Absolutely.
Heist and zombies. 2 tacos because so much more could have been done, and there were so many things that didn't work.
Literally take out 3 characters and you have a great movie.
Yeah, I agree. But again, guys, you know what we say. You watch and decide on your own. You can find Army of the Dead on Netflix. It just released this past week, and so you've got plenty of time to check it out. And we try to keep things spoiler-free.
I do want to mention one more thing I forgot.
All right.
Mega compliments to giving Tig Notaro, what's her last name?
Tig Notaro.
Yeah, Tig, giving her a role in a movie.
I wanted to see
movie.
So much more, though. She was so good in this movie.
She's so amazing, just in general as a person, but to see her just 2 minutes in a movie is great. I don't care. That's fine.
I hope to see more of Tig Notaro because what a wonderful few minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have covered a lot of ground here on this week's episode of Real to Real Talk. We thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, you can find us on YouTube. We thank you for joining us here. Give us a like on these episodes. We appreciate them, but more so, make sure you click on that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we have our episodes. And if you miss them on Tuesday nights when we broadcast live, please make sure that you go back to YouTube and visit them and watch them and all that fun stuff. Also, make sure you click follow on our Facebook page, Real to Real Talk, as well as Instagram. Join us there as well. Anywhere you'd like, comment, let us know your thoughts. What are some things you'd like us to talk about in the future? What are some things you love that we're doing? What can we do different? We want to hear from you here at Real to Real Talk. Susan, Paul, it's been another fun week. I already am looking forward to next week because we got fun stuff planned. So thank y'all both.
Yeah, thank you, Sergio.
It's gonna be so
I
great.
heard you
It's gonna be
say
awesome.
Julie. Yes, we do. We always have fun stuff planned. And we always want to remind you, don't forget, not only thank you for joining us, but also you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it. We will see you next time.